Welcome back, friends. Last guy here. Time for Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Part 2. We are Ryotaro Susato Naruhodo. And I did the age-old method of just try everything on everything. And of course, it wasn't until I got to here. So it took like 15 minutes to find it. So this is it. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. An article about poisoning the rebel stone from the laboratory. My father's... So this is it. This is it. I don't know why, but here we go.
Objection!
No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. Alright, because the poison. What? Ha! The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Yume University.
Objection!
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case. But...
Prosecutor Aochi, you will let the defense speak.
but a newspaper article? The court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay these wretched publications carry.
Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency! Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says... deadly in tiny quantities. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with a poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting... if the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Mbami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is... it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body.
What?
Objection!
This is complete and utter nonsense! Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold.
Objection!
Oh, please, this is certainly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. The poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense. Exactly! Well put, Inspector! On what grounds did she do it, yokel? Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds.
What?
You can't possibly!
From your expression, Counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times from my place at his side in the Old Bailey.
In that case, Counsel, you present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poisoned newspaper article?
I don't know! Trying it.
How exactly would you explain this piece of evidence's connection to the newspaper article?
In truth, I'm not really sure. But my father always taught me to ask my elders whenever I was in trouble. So I thought I should ask your opinion, Your Excellency.
If it is advice you seek, Counselor, then I suggest that before discriminately thrusting evidence under my nose. Why not thrust it under the nose of the professor at your side?
That's what I want to do. I think he means you.
Good grief, thrusting that under my nose isn't going to solve anything here. We must use our heads. The article in the paper had the details of the toxin.
Now, where have we seen similar details?
Does that nowhere come to mind?
Ah, you mean I have to search through all the evidence looking for that?
If I'm not mistaken, it appears the advice of your elders has given you an idea.
It has not. Yes, I'd like another chance to present evidence if I may, Your Excellency.
In that case, Counsel, you present the proof to the court now.
Ah! Shit. There it is. Okay, do the autopsy.
Take that!
Here it is. I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim. Ah. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death. Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you yokel detective? In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. What? The defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely.
Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Prosecutor Iuchi, I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence. You, yokel student and yokel professor!
Everyone's a yokel now. I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No!
Eugene Mikotoba.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense's counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded?
No, Your Excellency.
Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic! Unaware of the theft of the secret state's research from his own workplace until he reads it in the newspaper?
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father. A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees. That's totally unfounded.
Who said hold it? Who said hold it?
What?
Ray did, I thought so.
None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray.
Membami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So you knew. I been placed in charge of overseeing the project. I gotta make her a little higher because it just becomes a setup. It was the day that the Professor and Saseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. It's becoming a Mickey voice. Just a tiny amount it was.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So I decided to try to get it back before anyone else found it. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean... Yes, of course. It was definitely it was that dainty English woman.
Miss Giselle Brett?
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me, as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Different girl voice. Well now, whatever do you mean? You gave her Southern Dandy. And then, she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes had shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips once I had been with her. Which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. On the blade of the knife in her back.
And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade.
Yes, if the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I had hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time.
Oh,
that was her.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here, in this courtroom now.
Objection!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say. Well, Menbami-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. Well, Yeah, no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
You have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Oh, I have evidence. It is very much conclusive. What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it.
You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Aochi.
Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. What? I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself. What the? Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. What shows the precise moment that Menbami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true, no. I don't believe it. They should be like, bonk.
Order, order, order. Counsel for the defense. Was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice is yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature. Wow. I'll show you who's slow to mature.
Careful now. Susato is starting to show her face here. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence.
The incriminating photograph has been entered into the court record. Photographic print taken at the moment the victim was attacked. My friend Ray can be seen kneeling over Miss Brett, who took the picture. I can't believe he's had a photograph like that up his sleeve the entire time. It's such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute! I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? Ray.
Objection!
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. Oh.
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Ah! That's why he hesitated.
I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown.
Goodness.
Are we to understand, then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph was the murkiest of the origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court?
When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor! What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings.
Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. The scene it captures is without a doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the subject, I believe the conclusion is clear.
Oh no!
Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim.
Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. You have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Taketsuchi Aochi in a court of law. If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it.
Well, counsel?
Your Excellency? The burning question is who took that photograph, and the truth is, I have the answer. Ow. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly! But as you so boldly claim that you can, please, do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The defense is a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What?
Very well then, Counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you clearly reveal something about the identity of the mysterious photographer?
This! Review scene? Just do it. Just look at this really quick. Yeah, there's a crack in it too, isn't there? There is! It's the same camera. By the way, is it the same camera here? No, it's a cop camera here. Present this.
What is that? The newspaper again? Raucous England returnees tell all.
It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side.
Ah, yes indeed. They had already caught my eye as it happens.
Ah, what of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably? On the branches of a tree or the like?
There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you.
Now, if you look closely at this photograph...
Good gracious!
Yep. Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph, too.
Objection!
Well, that tells us nothing. Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, on the branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council.
What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired?
The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of... camera defect. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device?
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched. And that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device.
In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. But there must be hundreds of such devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Iwuchi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? Ah! That's right. The author of that article is the mysterious witness to this crime. What? Ah! The other guys aren't there now? Okay. Memo? What? Memo? What?
He yelled it? I see you are called a Raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You already testified. It's memo, I tell you. Memo. Oh. Soseki-san? What was that? Did you say memo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Memo. Oh my god, that's his god damn it. Phoenix Wright is the worst with these names. Oh my god. Raiten Memo. Oh. He was hounding me from dawn till dusk. Huh, now that he mentions it. This freaking guy here. They secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. Could that same reporter be... a camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with writing Memo.
So you're saying that this picture was taken by...
By a Memo! Yes, my Lord, Your Excellency, Esquire! Ah.
Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom.
We found him in the corner, sir.
We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency. As you say, Your Excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, a murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood.
Meh. Meh. What did he say? What did he say? So this would be the save point right here. To be continued. Well, if I kept the 10 minutes of me looking for the right answer, we would be at the save point and then the episode. We're going to keep going because we're nowhere near... Okay, we're kind of near, but 30 minutes ain't enough. Let's get to 40-ish. It is a long game. Oh my god. I gotta think of a voice for that guy. I might just... Okay, I do not have... So... The reporter voice is known as East Atlantic, or whatever voice. I don't have that voice. Neither do I have a New Yorker voice. So I'm gonna give him the same voice I gave Lotta Hart years ago, because that's just gonna work, but in a male voice. Also, I gave that to another guy too, but I'm gonna do it just because it's become the reporter voice sometimes. 13th of August, 10:41 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Enter Chamber 3. I'm so sorry, Sasato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray.
You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone.
No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Sasato? You had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you'd stand by me to the last? I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Sasato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Sasato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. Lady's got a kink. Lady's got a kink. Oh my god. I'm no better, you know. Oh! Even though in my heart I knew you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back. There was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Sasato? I'm sorry, after I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be on your side. I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh no. I love that little animation reaction they give her there.
I think the situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task.
Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray. Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Sasato! You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. You know, it's not nice of me to judge the voicing that's actually in this game, since I'm not great anyway. But I think it's just also just, it wasn't good. Like, I just have to keep defending them. Like, I don't know what they were going for. She went for like a British and Asian accent at the same time. She's only been in Britain for 9 months. Is she Madonna? That's how it felt. That's how it feels. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I knew it was you who stole the poison. We're doing this line again? Well now, whatever do you mean? Giving her Southern Belle. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at the time? That's right. Just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that. Clearly the picture shows there's a hole in the back of the hut. A great mystery indeed. I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It will be all right. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day. I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you've said you saw is true.
Spoken like a true Mikatoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order.
Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. They're not going to find poison on the blade. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see.
Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin.
Chemical reagent?
I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters.
It's gonna be on the pen.
I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case.
Chemical reagent has been entered into the court record. Special indicator solution for a new poison on development by my father's team. It's only been created in strict secrecy and exists only in my father's laboratory. Yeah, you want to have a way to detect the thing you're making.
What's the matter, Sasato? You're suddenly very quiet.
It's this newspaper article. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical's research laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing. What? It was when the professor and Saseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. The so-called Englishwoman swarmed in, without any compunction, said Professor Mikatoba. Oh, Professor, surely your guests would love to hear about your work on that substance there.
It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Saseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction.
So then, Saseki-san knew about the poison?
Yes, and it's highly likely. That reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too.
RM. Just got it. Right mini memo. Mini memo. Oh! Many memo. Writing many memo. Oh my god, many! Writing many memo. Yeah, it makes sense. This many memo-san. By the way, did the reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh! No, I don't remember the reporter being there.
Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
Oh?
A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Saseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office.
Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police. Ah!
Yes, that must be what happened.
Or he used it to incriminate Ray.
Counsel! We've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once.
Okay.
It's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense Attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Yes. Yes. Ray has put her faith in me now and told me everything. So I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day.
And that is a better stopping point.
But we still have time,
So let's go a little more.
13th of August, 11:30 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1.
I think we'll take his whole testimony and stop before the cross-examination. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Rei Membami.
What is the joke with her name? I haven't figured it out yet. Raymond Bami. I don't have a...
Prosecutor Oyuchi, have you summoned the new witness?
Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share.
Oh?
What news? And why does he look so happy about it? During the recess with their collaboration of Professor Mikatoba's laboratory at Yuma University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Giselle Brett's life.
It's gonna have no poison on it. The pen's gonna have it. Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course.
I had the reagent delivered to police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be their good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
And counsel, what were the results? This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, there's no trace of poison anywhere along its blade. What? Are you sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it.
Armed with a reagent, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake.
The murder weapon has been entered into the court record. A small knife at the scene of the crime was found on the victim's back. No trace of poison was found on the blade. In short, the accused's feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. Ah! Now the prosecution is ready to call the new witness.
Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness.
No trace of poison on the knife. But if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Okay, we're at 40 now. I should stop talking about the time. Let's just do it. Let's just do this, and then the cross-examination will be next time. So here's the voice we're gonna use. And it's gonna be interesting. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
Writing a memo of the show you news. I'm what people like to call a journo.
What's a journo, Father? Do you know?
It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there where the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they're in print the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news.
Oh, so, it was you who took this photograph, was it?
Well, what have we here?
I'm sorry?
Oh, brace yourselves, people! Memo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. I thought he was using the outer as a girl. The readers will laugh this up. We'll set it up above the fold at 72 point in a 5-leg format for the morning edition. Huh? Right then. Let's start with your name.
Oh, it's Ryotaro Naruhodo?
Next, what made you want to become a lawyer?
I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose.
Ryotaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see.
I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while. By the way, my name is Akatsuchi Aochi. That's Akatsuchi Aochi. That so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart.
No, the readers won't buy that.
Ah!
Witness. Yes. What this court demands to know is whether or not you are responsible for the taking of this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't be a journal if I didn't click quick with, when presented with a scoop like that now, would I? Sometimes stories that call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down. But either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with, and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my memoism.
Memoism?
Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself and Soseki-san. Yes, right, that was me, Memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest.
Miss Brett's words?
A criminal left to do as she pleases just because she happens to be a British citizen? This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns.
Woo, he's passionate. Stay your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play.
Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all right here. Right here it goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going on some junket? The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get that woman's story so I could hammer her in the press. Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph. Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journal eyes. From the start to the finish. Through the viewfinder of my trusty camera.
Gotta be careful sounding a little Kazuma. I'm trying to make it southern, but I'm losing it when I get too excited.
Thank you, Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. Like, I'm just a reporter. That's what I'm going with. That's the voice. Like, the camera never lies. Like, that's what I'm going for, and I'm losing it because I get too excited in the voice. And when you get too excited, you lose your accent, unless you're really good at the accent. Like, say, if you're like a Scotsman or whatever, it's like, I'm a Scotsman. I'm a really excited Scotsman. Like, you gotta figure out how to do it in the thing. Obviously, it's not a great Scotsman voice. Alright, actually, we're good now. So we'll stop there. Save there. Mental note, stop talking about the time. There we go. So that's it for now. I have fun up if I'm watching. That's what's all about it. Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.